tell us a little bit about this deal and how it changes the game for you. And again, welcome back to Bloomberg Businessweek Daily.
Carol and Tim, it is wonderful to be back with you, and this time in this brand new role. Yes, USA Rare Earth is becoming the global leader in rare earths. And this transformative acquisition we've announced is with Serra Verde Group. They are the owners and operators of the only mine outside of Asia that produces all 4 magnetic rare earths. And they have just announced an agreement as well through a special purpose vehicle backed by the U.S. government and some private investors for a 15-year, 100% offtake with price floors on all 4 magnetic rare earths.
So we talk about rare earths, and if people who are regular audience members of this program, they know 17 elements essential to EVs, wind turbines, military hardware. China still dominates mining, processing, and magnet production. So does this deal that has these rare earths outside of China, does it change the fact that Western governments are scrambling to support new entrants?
This makes us a brilliant partner for those governments who are trying to solve this issue. Yes, for decades now. In 1992, China declared the Mideast has oil, we have rare earth, and they set about building a monopoly. Now they've used that monopoly against us. And listen, we have what it takes in order to develop our own value chain outside of China, from mining to processing, which is, quite frankly, one of the trickiest links in the chain, to metal making, and ultimately to magnet making. USA Rare Earth has been making moves at every link across that chain to make sure that there is a response. We can grow the business outside of China, but more importantly, over time, we can become the global leader.
Will you go deeper, Barbara? Because I feel like we're all learning about this. It wasn't something we were talking about a lot 2 years ago, but we are certainly over the past year. You mentioned the processing. That is one of the trickier links in the chain you mentioned. China still dominates when it comes to processing. Is it realistic to think that the U.S. can catch up ever to China when it comes to processing? And how tricky is it going to be to undo that link or make that link, connected and make it work here in the U.S.? And how long?
This is a matter of investment. And yes, indeed, we already have geologists, metallurgists, chemists who have successfully demonstrated separation technologies. You see, when ore or a clay comes out of the ground, it has those rare earth elements in it. Those have to be separated from the rest of the ore body. And the processes to do that sometimes involve solvents, sometimes they involve ionic exchange, very well understood chemical processes. And it's a matter of building the facilities that will make them. For the next 2 years, we are going to be on the search for who can move the fastest. And in fact, USA Rare Earth just invested in Carester, a firm in the south of France, very capable of heavy rare earth processing. They're bringing their processing online by the end of this year. We ourselves, in our proposal to the Department of Commerce CHIPS Program Office, we've included processing as a key element of our own operations, and in order to first process our own ore body at Round Top in Sierra Blanca, Texas, but also to take third-party mixed rare earth concentrate like that which may come out of Serra Verde.
You mentioned Carester, so I want to get more into the acquisitions or investments. So the acquisitions that you've done in a short time, Less Common Metals last year, that 12.5% stake in Carester, now Serra Verde. Are you going to stay in your lane of NdFeB, which I learned today is neodymium iron boron permanent magnets, which is your core. That's your primary product. Are you going to stay in that lane, or are these acquisitions representing you guys expanding a little bit?
Today, we're focused on NdFeB. Yes, indeed, a certain type of magnet.
We're all learning.
And you've heard that they're used in everything from semiconductors to our defense articles, frankly, even into the everyday electronics that we use. They are in everything in our economy. And our focus is going to be to assure that industrial players have access to the supplies they need in case of disruption. Think of in these early days, supplying insurance quantities quantities to make sure that in case of disruption, people can drive through. But over time, we'll be able to pick up production. Now, there are also magnets that are made with samarium cobalt. That's another form it has many uses, and we've partnered with folks like Arnold Magnetics in order to make sure that we can, first of all, serve their needs with metal from our metal making operations, but then also combine our NdFeB magnets with theirs for those customers who need access to both.
Barbara, are you guys done with deals for a while? Are you anticipating that there's going to be more that you need to do to kind of build this up? I mean, this is a big deal in terms of what the United States needs to do. Lots of money, lots of actions, lots of activity. So is there more acquisitions from you guys to come?
Yeah, Carol, you should think about this as a platform for growth. This is a platform for growth. This market space outside of China has been fragmented all this time. There's a lot of friction in the system. Great opportunities for companies who have complementary capabilities to come together. Now, with the acquisition of Serra Verde, we've also brought on Sir Mick Davis and Thras Moraitis. Thras, both of them will be on our board. Thras will join me as president of USA Rare Earth, and you may know them as the power duo who put together Xstrata, grew it from $500 million to $65 billion. In this market space, they recognized years ago that the rare earth space was ripe for exactly the kind of business approach that they are so adept at handling. And I look forward to working with both of them on our overarching strategy.
Hey, Barbara, we have a couple minutes left. There's a lot we want to get to, including some news today. But before we get there, USA Rare Earth received $1.6 billion in proposed funding from the U.S. Department of Commerce in January. It's conditional on certain things. Should investors expect more support from the U.S. government?
What you'll see is that together with Serra Verde, we're supported and working with the Department of Commerce, the Department of War, Department of Energy. We have relationships all across. Serra Verde announced an investment by DFC. So, clearly there is great government interest in the work that we're doing, and we are happy to see investments that are accelerating our progress across the board. So look for us to be involved in additional engagements with the U.S. government and our allies where we can help scale or accelerate growth.
So I would say that that's a yes, more money coming, or maybe?
We are absolutely engaged with all of those who have funds applied to critical minerals.
You mentioned the U.S. and our allies, and that's where I want to go. What do you think about the agreement, Barbara, that was signed today between the U.S. and EU to coordinate on critical minerals when it comes to price floors, offtake agreements, and more?
Well, think about the power of this. China has been engaging in practices that, artificially drove prices in their favor. Anytime they wanted to, they could drop prices, flood the market, and frankly, run businesses out of the marketplace. And so by agreeing to price floors, we're sending long-term signals that say there is a market, we want to grow it, it is worthy of investment. Have courage, drive through this, because what we have to do is yes, enhance the price floors, make sure that we have a stable business perspective going forward. As we grow, as we scale, then market dynamics will absolutely take over our time. And I'm thrilled that the EU has stepped forward to join us in the effort.
Well, to follow up on Carol's question there, how should the U.S. and European nations handle price floors? How should that work?
We've been sending our input to the U.S. Trade Representative and others who are working on policies. We feel that it's really important that if we can agree that we as collaborative countries are going to join together and agree not to buy those Chinese products that often have been artificially skewed price-wise. There's clearly government buying that will take place, and we're in support of the government mandates that are coming along for government contractors. But what's even more important these days is that the buyers of large-scale material, like ours, are looking for non-China sources and are recognizing the power of their buying habits. I call it industrial patriotism, recognizing that the actions they take will strengthen the market.
Barbara, really quickly, 30 seconds. Have you been looped in on any of the conversations between the Europeans and Americans? I mean, given that you guys now own assets in Europe and the U.S.?
Yeah. USA Rare Earth colleagues are often invited into conversations, and we're more than happy to share our expertise, join in the conversation, and help people understand the economic situation we're in and think up potential solutions. We've got to use every tool in the tool belt right now.
Real quickly, upbeat conversations, stressful conversations, because there's a
No,
race on?
upbeat.
Upbeat.
Upbeat. I've been so
Yeah.
encouraged by how helpful everyone wants to be.